Hello. Uh, I think this means I'm live. I don't know. We'll find out. Uh, Twitch says I'm live, so let's turn that off. Okay, let's get going. Gonna do some WordPress theme development. Yeah. If you got any questions, feel free to hit up chat. I don't know how to tell how many people are watching, but we'll figure it out. Okay. Sketch websites. The site's pretty much done, except for a couple of pages. So, mainly this contact us page. Need to create. And yeah. So, I don't know if we'll use Vue for this or not. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, not sure. There's not a ton we need to do. Let's get to it. Templates. The contact page. Hey, if someone's actually watching this, if you could tell me if you can hear me, that'd be great. It's my first time, so. so kind of a few different ways we can organize this. We can either have a post type for each location, as well as a post type for each employee, which I'm tempted to do just for future compatibility. That's not the right word, but if they expand or if they add more people. Alternatively, we can just make one big repeater field, basically, that each location has all this information associated with it, and the map, as well as the employees, as like a nested repeater. And that would work as well. I don't know how much I like that, but yeah, let's go ahead and break it out. Yeah, let's break it out. They're not, from what I understand, they're not looking to add another location anytime soon, but they will be managing employees, I'm sure, within the next 3 to 5 years. So we want to take that into consideration, that these are all going to change, potentially. And we want to make that as easy as possible, rather than having to dig into a bunch of repeaters. So, we actually, don't need anything on this page. So I think what I'll do is we'll add a message here. Say manage locations and employees from the relevant navigations on the left. And we'll hide the content editor because we don't need it. Okay, so we need 2 custom post types. I've already got a couple that will work nicely. Employee. Luckily, employee is a nice word. Works out that, I think. Employees. Yeah. Employee. Now I need a person. Might as well use the built-in ones. They work good enough. Just to double check. So users is 1 person. So let's use the multi-person one for employees. Oops. Let's support the title. That's fine. The name of the employee they're not public, query for them. Okay, so that's good enough. Copy this one. Post type location. Location, another one of those nice keywords. So good. Also, need a dash icon. I guess the houses will work for this. Since this isn't a multi-site. Store is also an option. Yeah, let's use store. Same thing. They don't need to be public or anything. We're going to query them and put them all on the contact page. So then I need to add these to the functions file. I'm using Timber to develop this. So everything in the functions file is kind of built on extending this class. Seems to work pretty well. I like it a lot. So I've got a hook for this. Location and employee. That's close those. And then I'll take a look at this. Locations, employees, perfect. So let's go do some custom fields. Let's do the employee first because I think it'll be the easiest one. Our sketch file here. Got a name, a title, and then this NMLS number. I'm not sure what that is, but I don't think it's important. So we're going to use the post title as the actual, as their name, which I think is fine. LS number, the text as well. Shots. As an image. Medium, just so we kind of get the full picture. We can return an array, that's fine. I'm not going to put a limit on these because there's a good chance that they'll probably upload something that can direct from a camera at one point. While that's not ideal, we can use a plugin to manage that file size. It's still going to be obnoxious, but it won't be as obnoxious. So, yeah, I think that's it. Hide the content editor just in case something comes along and tries to put that back on. Probably not going to happen, but just in case. Location. This we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use the title as this name up here. So we just need to get some information. So let's do phone number. as a regular phone number, as a regular text field. We got fax. Fax number. Let's go ahead and remove this bit. Just in case there's anyone here, if you could type in the chat if you could hear me, that'd be awesome. Anyway, phone number, fax number, we need the address, and we'll do a placeholder. So 121 Front Street, just so they know. And then we'll do them separately as a city, state, zip. The default we're going to use is KS, since they're probably going to be here, and then the zip code. Okay, thanks, Johnson. Can turn that up just a little bit, I think. Maybe. I'm pretty bad at this. This is my first time, so. Let's do input level just a little higher. Hopefully this is better. I'll try to talk louder too. That's probably half the trouble. So city, state, zip. We can generate this directions link with Google Maps. Okay. Then the lobby hours and drive up hours, I think we'll just do a repeater. Cool. Let's see. So we got maybe a date, and then the time. 2 text fields, probably good enough. Yeah, I think we can use a placeholder to signify what we want. Fine. So there's information, but we don't need to go overboard. With all the instructions, we don't need a ton of them. Let's make it a time, actually, that's not a real one, so they don't accidentally do that. Let's do 1 p.m. and 11 a.m. That should be good enough. We'll just duplicate this one. I'll just drive up hours. Okay, and then, oh, that's what I didn't do here. I'm going to need the map image. 300. Let's move this one to the top. Post type, location. I think that's everything for that. And then we need to modify our employee and let them assign a location. This will be a post object. If they come and say they have somebody with more than one location, then we can address that at a later time. It's not like they're disappearing into the ether and we'll never talk to this client again. So I think this will work okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now we need to build out this interface. And the rest over there. I don't want to have to fill this out, but I guess I have to. Languages I use, yes, PHP obviously. My current job is mostly do front end stuff, so HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc., etc. I like to use Vue.js for some front end stuff. So likely this whole contact page, I'm actually probably going to build on Vue for this, tabbed bit and switching between the three locations. Not super difficult, but makes it nice and interactive, rather than kind of just like taking the cheap, lazy way out and making 3 different pages for each of the locations and having them switch. And yeah, it's just, that seems like more work for very little gain. So rather not do that. Also, I don't know if you do any WordPress development yourself, but I do everything with Timber on the theme development side. So this is what a template looks like, or what a PHP file in the theme looks like. And so, for example, let's go look at my home page here. This is all the code for the home page. And then the actual templates themselves are in Twig, kind of instead of the normal WordPress thing where you have, the WordPress loop and all that stuff. Once I get one location set up, I'll jump into more of that. But yeah, any more questions, just shoot them my way. So let's fill this in. That can be a JPEG. actually, did we do this? So Thursday. It doesn't have a space in it in the sketch file, but I'm gonna add a space. I also don't know how much I like the lowercase, but I guess it's fine. Also gonna add a space here though. Six. Saturday, 8. To 11:30. Drive-up hours. Same dates. 9 to 4. This one is 8. 6. 8 to 11:30. Okay, cool. That should be good enough. Let's add a couple employees. We'll start on the other bit. Fifth employee, super fifth title. So they know to change these. Headshot. Hopefully they're all like this. The question is, should I use this one or should I include the one with the border in it? Probably not. Do we need this to be a PNG? I don't think we do. We'll try it. We can swap it out to PNG later if we need it. The file says this. Oh yeah, that's fine. Will be Westmoreland. Publish. Okay. That's probably good enough to get started with. Cool. So contact, need to pass some context to the locations. How should I order these? L, N, O. Well, could do it by title descending. that would probably work. Let's just leave it for the time being. Just going to grab all the employees as well. I'm going to sort them in PHP. What do you mean by programming streams lag? Like most other programming streams are too quiet? Let's look here. Does this look like a narrow one? Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, it's also pretty late here. My wife's probably asleep, so trying not to be any louder than I have to be. I'm glad you enjoy it, though. If you get any more questions, just let me know. It's the whole reason I'm doing it. I feel like I don't give back enough, so start trying to stream and just see if people find it helpful, and go from there. Okay, so let's see here. Oh man, don't get me started on that ASMR stuff. I don't understand it, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Let's see here. Okay, so we need to build this tab thing, which I guess we can do kind of statically first, and then build it out. It's probably good enough. Yeah, I've thought about doing some other languages, but it's, yeah, just with like work. Like this is actually something I'm working on for my job, but I work from home, so sometimes it's just hard to find time for all that stuff, which sucks. Let's see. Contacts. I guess we can just do that. Actually, let's do this. Tricky buttons. Naga. Onega? I don't know. Let's find out. Yeah, I work for an agency. Man, this is in the middle of nowhere. Like, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, so navigation, that's probably fine. Just buttons. I don't think we need any other wrapper elements. So then div. Okay, so we're going to do this. And then this is going to be kind of what we go over with for our for loop. This location div. And that will have everything in it. So title. Probably don't need all these. Probably overkill. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and set this up. For location, locations. Oops. I've only got one right now, so it shouldn't be terrible. Which means we can do this as well. Let's copy that. Is the address thing? I think it is. Okay, address with breaks. Oh, what did I name this? I don't remember. Jeez. Street address. City. Oh, city, state, city. Zip. Let's do zipper zip code. Zip. Okay. And then oops, lobby hours. Should probably be on our list. For item in location dot get field lobby hours. Oh, whoops, shit, I didn't do this either. Oops, this one is. These should all be get field calls. Field. Okay. Yeah, that How are you gonna do that? Probably like a min width. Yeah, span. There we go. That work. Get this image. This. Image. 1 second. Yeah, that's my phone. This will be location dot get field. Map image. Do source for this one. That's probably fine. I guess I can resize it a little bit. What is this width? 692. See if that fits my scale. 43.25. What does fit? It's 42. 672. We'll run a resize filter on it just to be safe. That should be fine. Fist my Angus. I use the Timber page builder. One of the benefits is that you get to build it all yourself. So, though occasionally, if we do have like a really low budget project, we might use a page builder just to, and then like make an intern build all of it. In that case, we've been known to use, I think Beaver Builder is their favorite at the moment. Yeah, try to stay away from page builders. Usually that's just low quality work that no one wants to do anyway. Cool. Okay, then we need employees. Contacts. Location. Employees. No header, no title there. So I need to put the employees into a better like system, I guess. I haven't built any Gutenberg blocks yet. They seem pretty simple. personally, Gutenberg is going to really jack with my life. So in that case, like in that regard, it kind of sucks. Because I have probably 40 or 50 websites we built at the agency I worked for in the past, 3-4 years, um, that are completely built on advanced custom fields that hardly use the content editor, the WYSIWYG as is. So to try and upgrade all of those will be a nightmare. So we're kind of all in on the Classic Editor plugin for all of those, and we're just going to see what happens. So I'm hoping that the core team realizes that they're being stupid and will add a long-term support release and brand it as such. Yeah, because I think the way they're going about it, I don't agree with, but that's out of my control. So, as a project, though, I think Gutenberg is cool. I definitely see the use case and can see how it can be a good thing. I just think that the way the core team is going about it is completely wrong. But anyway, so let's see. So I need to put the employees into different groups that match up with the locations. So we're querying all of them. Yeah, I use Manage WP. It works great. I love it. So let's see. So filtered. Make this an array. And then for each should I do? Oh yeah, I gotta. Well, I gotta do them both. So we need to filter out the locations, and then filter out the employees. So we'll do context employee. Come on, employees filtered. And then we'll call this location title. Make that an array. And that should give us that. And then this will be this. And this will be employee get field location title. And then we'll push another one onto that. And we'll do that. Yeah, that's what I did. I installed the original editor all at once, as well as there's like this other plugin, the Classic Editor something. Oh, that's what it is. Classic Editor add-on, which just automatically enables it and then hides all the crappy notices. So that way anyone who logs in isn't going to see a Gutenberg notice at all. So I just installed both of those plugins at once and worked great. So theoretically, this should give me when you search for a classic editor, it's like the second plugin that's there, and right next to the main one. So it's got quite a few stars, so it shows up right there. Oops. Okay, so let's look at these filtered employees and see if this is working how I want. I'm pretty sure it is, but just in case. So I have an array, this Westmoreland, and then each of these should be the employee, which is fake employee. Come on. There we go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I want. I think let's add another employee just to be sure. Second fake one. Teller. I'll add this one as well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add the other location. I just won't fill it in, so I can make sure. Yeah, so just to continue on my Gutenberg rant, I guess, while I do this. Yeah, so like this stuff, you know, this with advanced custom fields isn't possible anymore. I mean, it's sort of possible. I don't know. We'll have to see what Elliot has in mind, but it was kind of annoying that they pushed for so long for WordPress to be this CMS and spending all this time going out into the greater web development community and like WordPress isn't just a blog, it's a CMS and blah blah blah. And then they push this Gutenberg thing, which feels way more slanted towards the blog side rather than the CMS side. I just think it's a bad idea. Like they could have done it better. So that's so I've got one array for each location, and then this has one person, and this has one person. Okay, so I should be able to just pass the title and you get it. Dots. Oh no, you gotta do it this way. You gotta do location title. That should work. just do employee.title. Okay. So that. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys do WordPress development as well. I'm assuming maybe some, but this is what I really like about using Timber and Twig. Like this almost turns into more like a controller, and then like here's the template for this whole contact page. Like it's super easy to read. Um, Everything that's like in the header and the footer and stuff has all been extracted out. So, and using Vue is also pretty simple, which hopefully we'll get to in just a few minutes. Oh, whoops. There we go. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's going to do that thing. Let's do order by post title. Yeah. This is my favorite way. You could probably switch to using the order thing, but that's not terribly important. I think this is fun. Yeah, I've looked into Sage a few times. I forget why I never like stick with it. Probably has to do with the like kind of the whole environment that it kind of pushes you into, which is great for new projects, but working with old projects is kind of a pain in the ass in that respect, or if you have to like take something over. I feel like that's most of my gripes with it, but let's see. Cool. So, if anyone's just joining us, this is what we're working on right now, this contact page. It's kind of tab navigation at the top. It's going to flip through, use some Vue.js to do that in a few minutes. But yeah. So let's get to some CSS. It's probably where we'll spend the majority of the night here. Let's see, 0, 0, whoops, 0, 0, calc, it's 1/3. Perfect. Font. Uppercase. Yeah, maybe I'll have to give that another shot, Angus. Yeah, it just always seemed a little confusing. But maybe it's time to look again. It's probably been 2 years since I've looked at it last time, so um, actually, oh yeah, it's color. I need an active class on one of them. Contacts. Oops. Nav. Active. Sure. So this one will be background, dark blue, color, white. This will be none, I feel like. Yeah. See what that looks like. So, see, Burrito, don't heart me so much yet. Uh, it's I use BEM very loosely. Uh, it's yeah, I like it. I do like it a lot. But I've also been playing with Tailwind recently, uh, and I probably my next work project. I think I'm comfortable enough to use Tailwind on a live site, so that'll be interesting to try out. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna have to do it this way because that's what I should have done. uh, yeah. So have button contact. Have button active. Button and dash active. Should still work. Maybe. Hmm. Oh no, this needs to be in here. That's fine. Cool. Border bottom. So solid. Let's just. This is what I'm talking about. What I really like about Tailwind, like having, like eventually just build up these kind of like utility classes that you use everywhere, inevitably in all your projects. Um, so, like, that's part of that is like really appealing, and I don't want to have to like I kind of like the BEM thing for keeping components organized, but I like the ease of use with utilities. So I kind of mix and match them. I'm not super strict on one or the other. Let's get rid of this border radius too. What is this font size? 24. think 1.5 is going to be too big. But we'll try it out. Yeah, that just feels a little big. Also, the letter spacing. Yeah, that's better. I like that more. Yeah, that's so that's wider than this is. Okay. So let's see. Take this out. And we'll put these all in another div. Wrapper. Narrow. There we go. Cool. Let's see. How am I going to do this? So I could use grid here, but I'm not going to. Just because the browser support is still kind of meh, at least with this sector, unfortunately. Grid would make this super easy. I guess Flexbox is still pretty easy, but since it's a bank, you never know what kind of old shitty computers they have there. So, class, location, oops, contacts, location, details, wrapper. Do I need one for this? I think I'll try it without a specific class name div. It's probably fine. So let's go ahead and add this. Man. Cool. Location. And right? Yeah. So this one should be, I don't know. Let's get it first. See what we get. That's pretty good. I want to make sure it stays that way though. So I think if I just do it all on the image, I can probably get away with it. So let's do margin left. 2 rims. 2 rims? Yeah, that's right. 2 rims. And then we'll do flex 1. 1 auto. Oh, it didn't have the lobby hours. Or it did. And then have to drive up once. Drive up. Drive up. Okay. Lobby. Drive up. Oh, those are way too big. Oh, yeah. Oh, those can just be bold text. Okay. Utilities. Bold text. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Let's go ahead and do this. A little margin. Why is this not how I want it? Call us. Fax. Oh, whoops. Fax. Yeah, this picture is not super high quality. We 2x this one. Delete that one. Try this again. Still be fine. Layout wise, shouldn't have broke. That's a little better. I'll have to get the guy at work to do something a little better than that. But seems like the core bit of it is working. Let's go ahead and do the view bit. Let's put it in here. Just because we need it. Location So this part's kind of annoying that because Vue and Twig have the same uh, templating delimiters. So it's kind of it's like you have to put it in a string in the Twig template, but there are worse things. So I'll put this in here. This should be super simple. I have one for the login already. And let's just add another one for this contact bit. Contact wrapper. I don't remember if you can do this in Vue either. But I think you can. So basically we can have everything based on kind of this current tab index. Should be fine. And that's going to yell at me, that's fine. I think let's see how I can do this. So let's see, how do we get this in here without making it super named? I guess we can name it. And click. Current tab. Go. Let me look how I did this in here. Yeah, just reset it. Okay. Current tab is equal to. So these are going to get interpolated first by Twig. So we can do that. Current tab equals location dot title. Yeah, I think we're just going to set this to start for the first one. If this were going to be more dynamic, I would think about changing that, but I think it's okay. Okay, and then bind the class to this. I always have to look this syntax up because I never remember. So let's see. Yeah, let's do that. So This is going to be super ugly, but it'll work. I need to bind this active class to expression. Oh no, print tab. Yes. And then bind it to this print tab is equal to single quotes. Man, that is ugly. But it works. And then let's just go ahead and then do view the show. If current tab is equal to location.title. I think that'll work. Well, there should be let's make sure we're not closing this too early. Oh, no, it doesn't look like we're closing it at all. Oh. Okay, that seems to work. But then why is our tab not working correctly? Oh, it's because I have both of them still set on this button, and they should be. There we go. Perfect. Didn't have to do anything. Let me just double check what happens when I go to a page without that on it. If view complains. Yeah. Okay. Since we're using WordPress, we have jQuery already, so we might as well use it. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So we'll just check the page, the body, then I guess, for that class. Page template. fine. We shouldn't get any errors here. Okay, let's make our employee a little more useful. Oh shit. I didn't think about that. Is that going to cause an issue with our actual title? I guess not. It's probably fine. Because Timber automatically sucks out some of the custom fields and makes them available on the object itself. And so you don't have to use this method every time if it's just simple text fields. But the actual title is already set like that. So we'll see what we get here. This is probably a code smell, but meh. We got work to do. It's realistically no one else is working on this. It's just me. There we go. Hello. Probably flexbox up these employees as well. In ls number I should probably check for that value though. If ls let's see, I need 5 employees at least to test this. To test the layout. Actually, I'm just going to copy this 2 more times. And that should give me 6. I'll include location. This will move flex. They should all be the same size, I'm thinking. So probably won't have to stretch it. These flex as well. Do we need to make those flex? I guess not. Yeah, no, I guess not. But we will do. Let's look at this. Space 20. Set max width on these to let's just look at what it is here. 285. 17. 17.5. See what happens. Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably fine. Class, contacts, location, employee, title, or name, should be the name. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I always forget about that when I do it this way. Put this all back. It's all changed. There we go. Actually, oh yeah, that's right. Now they've got this. Oh, I think this will be fine. Bars, blue border. may not have borders on images. Oh no, I forgot to do that thing again. Two pixel border. And this one up here. And this needs to be 5 frames. Okay. This needs to match the bottom. Each of those. Does anybody know how to do like a super quick ruler in Sketch? Okay, well, I'll probably just do this. It's probably fine. $45. Top of his edges. $25. 37. So just 36. Maybe 2.5. So don't like how seems to be a little bit more of a thing there. So let's change this image to 90%. And then let's do this as a top border on the main. And we'll do some padding to do that. Center that. Yeah, I think that looks a little better. So this full screen or 100%. So yeah, there's one RAM. Seems a little bigger right there though. Oh well. Wrap. Two, one. Oh, that's kind of weird. Oh, that's fine. 0.17.5 grams. Oh, it's because my rim size changes. Yeah, my rim scale goes down. I wonder if we can just find a better middle ground for that. Maybe bumping it up a little bit. It did look like there was one here where it didn't fit. Yeah. So that's not going to work. If we do 20. The other option is to do this all manually, but that seems like too much work too. Okay, do it this way. I'll set the desktop one to 17.5. We'll use 20 lower than that. That'll work. And let's give this whole thing some margin. Two. We need a directions link as well. Let's see how to do this. HTTPS. Google.com. Maps. I think it's Q equals. Then we can do directions. Location title. Let's look at the twig. Twig URL encode. Yeah. URL code. Actually, let's just set this. Should be easier to work out. Sets Google address equal to city, state, zip. City, state. So, okay, yeah, I think that'll work. Google address. Let's check this out. Yep, I think that worked. Cool. A little bit more space up here. Getting really close. I think that's done for, so we can get rid of this. Try 2 people. Yeah, we'll just have to see what that looks like when we get them all in there. Flexbox sometimes does weird stuff with, well, it's not weird, but like, use justify content space between, I think if there's only one, then it centers it. Or does it go to the left? Space between. Oh no, it goes to the left. So that's probably okay. just don't want one person on the end. That's weird and in the middle. That's probably fine. Okay, let's finish up this. Lobby and drive up. Style none. Zero and 0 above that. I also need to do that. Already fake amount. List item. Display flex for those. And I think we'll just set a min width on these to like 10 rens, maybe. Yeah, that's probably fine. Yeah, even on a long date, that should still work out okay. That looks good, that looks good. Only thing we need to change is the image. Maybe stack it on top for mobile screens. So we can do order -1 and flex 100%. Oh, that's not. Mini query. We'll set the order back to auto. We'll set this to auto. And we'll get the margin there too. Why is this so grow? Yeah, I don't want to do that. Flex RAM. No wrap. Same breakpoint. Yeah, Vue.js for the tabs here, which I now fucked up. But why is that not carrot? Maybe, or maybe it's too small. There we go. That's what I want. Perfect. Cool. So I think that does it for this page. Employees are laid out all right, and there's more of them. They seem fine. There's a little more space here compared to this one, but I'm okay with it. I wonder if we should link up this as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to link the image to the same Google Map link. Because I want to. I think it's just good user experience. And then use a class here. I think I have a block utility. Yeah, I do. That'll work. That way, when we get this, they can, if someone's on mobile, they can just click that map, and it'll open up Google Maps. That should be fun. Cool. Yeah, I think that part's done. Question is, do you want to keep going? It's been 2 hours. Are you guys watching interested in more? I could keep going, I could stop. I don't care one way or the other. Okay. If there's any new people on the channel or who are watching, if you have any questions, feel free to post in chat. I'm trying to explain what I do as I do it. Sometimes I don't do that great. This is my first stream, so still kind of new at this. But now this is a little annoying. I wonder why they did it that way. Okay, well, I've got that. Yeah, I have a bunch of mics and stuff. It just seemed like overkill to pull them all out for this. I probably won't upgrade anything and set all that up for until I feel like I'm actually doing this enough to warrant that. But I don't know. Can you guys hear the fan on my laptop? That's probably a good reason to use a mic. I don't actually use Sketch myself. I'm not a designer. I'm just a developer. From a development standpoint, I like Sketch a lot more. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for the fan noise thing. Seems like the gate is working decently. From a developer standpoint, Sketch works really well for like exporting things. So like this logo, like being able to just grab the logo and make it exportable, and then get something is a lot nicer than the Photoshop way of doing things. Um, where I guess if you had lots of, I forget what they're even called now, like the embedded objects, where you like click into it and then it's like another Photoshop file, like same thing as Sketch basically, but exporting in Photoshop is just kind of a pain um, compared to Sketch. So that part I like more. Sketch also, if you use some of the plugins that are available, third-party plugins and stuff, you can do things pretty easily to like export text styles, and then there's some where you can have like all of your colors automatically exported into like a palette. So that makes things pretty easy. Yeah, I enjoy it enough anyway. Like I don't see, there hasn't been any features I don't think that Photoshop has that Sketch doesn't, that our designer needs to make things. So it's fine. um, well, let's see here. Basically have all of this done now. If they're gonna, well, we can set up the story section. Taslim, no, I don't use Bootstrap. Everything is hand coded, 100% custom. So the only thing that I kind of feel like Bootstrap would be useful for at this point in my career is the grid, like and like making things with the grid that are, you know, have to be that way. But the markup that it needs is kind of extraneous. Since I'm using Sass anyway, doing math for simple grid items like a half and a third and a quarter and stuff like that isn't terribly hard. I can just use my variable I already have for the desktop width, and then divide by 4, and that'll get me what I need. So yeah, it just doesn't make a ton of sense to use a framework like that. Some of the modules that those CSS frameworks offer are can be useful for learning how to recreate them yourselves, like modals, stuff like that. Like if you're unsure the technical bit of how to make something like that, I think it can be useful to read through the source of all those. But I think eventually you just get to a point where, especially the design, I think it mainly comes down to the design. I would have to customize Bootstrap a lot out of the main styles to get something useful. And it's going to need a lot of custom CSS anyway. So I'd rather just cut out the middleman and write a few extra lines so I don't have that mental overhead of trying to think over Bootstrap. This part, for example, this would be pretty difficult to do with vanilla Bootstrap, I think. In my case here, I actually ended up using CSS Grid for that, just because Grid makes things super easy to layer on top of each other. And then there's that Flexbox fallback, where this box is just on the left-hand side and the image gets squished a little bit. But yeah, with something like Bootstrap, you'd have to do all that custom anyway. So, okay, so where was I? Stories. So I already have this template, which I call the flip-flop grid. If we look over on stories over here, that's what we're using. So I think I can just kind of use this base template and replace it with the blog stuff, which is what the stories are. And that's probably fine. So do that. So flop grid. Actually, let's do this one. And then blob. This will say stories. This will be posts. Yeah, definitely keep on with the Flexbox grid train, Taslim. I use local by Flywheel to do my local development, which is built on top of Docker, I think. Pretty sure it's built on top of Docker. Yeah, I've done the whole install locally thing before, where you have local MySQL and local Apache and all that junk, and it gets to be a pain in the ass to upgrade. So I use local by Flywheel now. I've used VVV in the past. I like that pretty well. I had issues upgrading it though, and updating to like the latest version, because I had some custom stuff that I needed to do in the background, and it fucked up the configuration. So yeah. Ooh, this is interesting, actually. So post blog. Where is it? Home? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so hero image. That's don't have a sidebar, so that's So this will be interesting. What kind of projects, what kind of project are you going to build on the mean stack, Taslim? Like, I always see people talk about that stuff. But like, I don't know. It seems like for like a static type of site, like the node stack seems like overkill to me in some ways. Um, yeah, are you gonna build it on top of a static site generator CMS type thing, or just what? I'm always curious to hear how people learn other stacks, like what kind of projects they practice with. Excerpt. Gotta go with September. Actually, you know what? Let's go look at one of my other projects. Which one? Jeez. This one? Okay. Get preview. Get preview pass a number. Oh shit. Get preview. Let's do 50. Learn more. Post link. Is that this one? Post link. Yeah. Cool. Is that a college project, Daslin? I always see that like movie database example, like all over the internet for learning things, and yeah, I always wonder like who's actually handing those out. Cool. Okay, so here's a fun problem. So the way this is laid out, yeah, I remember like learning some web stuff in college as well, and yeah, super outdated. Like, I don't. I feel like there are exceptions, but yeah, for the most part, really outdated. Um, the MIT, I think it's MIT, has like all their classes online. That they're a couple years old now, but they seem to be kind of the most advanced of the bunch. in terms of like what they're teaching and like up to date stuff. So it's a couple of years old now, but if anyone's watching and wants to learn front end web dev, the MIT stuff on YouTube is decent. Yeah, the front end hype for frameworks, I agree, it's kind of ridiculous. That's kind of why I'm doing WordPress. Um, I mean, I know like I use Vue on a lot of my projects. And I've used React. I've got some React stuff that I play with on the side. And so like I understand it, but like, I'm not gonna go learn React and Angular and Meteor and Vue and Polymer and like the people who like jump the JavaScript framework train every 2 weeks blows my mind. So I feel like that's like kind of why we're starting to see a lot of people just stick to like, I'm gonna be a React developer or I'm gonna be a Vue developer, and kind of just be okay with that. So here's a fun problem. For this grid, for this bit, we need to get an image out of here, but the way this is set up normally in the template, this picture is not actually a is not the like background thumbnail. It's a separate image in a repeater in this template, but I need to swap it out to, well, let's see. So let's go. Stories, no. Let's set this one. This is actually a custom theme for a client. I work for an agency, so this is all real stuff. Please don't try and get me fired. I don't think that'd be a problem, but Zaylor, I guess, Mr. Fart. What kind of like dashboard stuff are you talking about? You're talking about like CMS type stuff, or like some sort of app where there's like analytics, or I don't know. Like, if you can explain what your kind of setup is for like kind of normal, quote unquote, normal project, I'd be super interested to hear it. Okay, so let's go with this. So here's the problem. So we can do it this way. Post dot thumbnail. And I think that's decent. Where's the title at? Oh, post. I'm self-taught. I've been doing this for 6 years or so. I watched a ton of tutorials, not like the shitty ones on YouTube that are like, learn how to build a website in 2 hours. Those are all crap. See, there's a guy. There's a guy who works for lynda.com, which I guess is now owned by LinkedIn, which is now LinkedIn Learning. His name is Morten Rand Hendrickson. Let's see, if you go to more10.com. Yeah, this guy, MOR, and then the number 10.com. He teaches some stuff that's pretty good for beginners if you want to get into WordPress development. The classes on Treehouse are good, though they fired the WordPress guy because they, I guess, weren't seeing a big enough market for it. So those videos are starting to get a little out of date. But that guy is Zach Gordon. He used to work for Treehouse, and now he does teaching on the side, or teaching independently. His stuff's pretty good. Yeah, and then just lots and lots of client stuff. I've done, dozens and dozens of websites over that amount of time. I do probably a dozen websites a year for the company I work for. So you get to practice, but if you want to learn, yeah, definitely check out Morten. He's good. If you want to learn WordPress stuff, I say just jump right into it. Like try to find a theme that you like or another website that you like and just try and recreate it on top of WordPress without looking at any of the code or anything. Because the vast majority of WordPress development is actually front-end development. It's just that your templates are organized a little differently. So we've got this. I mean, you need to know PHP, but I don't think you need to know as much as you don't need to know as much to do WordPress stuff as if you were going to do something on like Laravel or Symfony. Like that stuff's great and it has its place, and I'm definitely not one of those people who's like WordPress for everything. Like that's not what I advocate for. But yeah, you definitely, like, as long as you know loops, like PHP loops, and you understand how arrays and objects work, that's like probably the vast majority of it. So maybe that's a lot, I guess. But I don't know. I can just walk you through like what's in this theme. Would I suggest using something like underscores? I used to do stuff with underscores when I first started, and that's kind of the way that all of the tutorials tell you to like use underscores. and it's a good starting point. I've kind of graduated past that into using Timber and Twig, which is just kind of an abstraction of the WordPress stuff, which I'll show you guys, I guess. It's just simpler, in my opinion. There's less bloat to look at and try to work through. So, for example, here is my home page file in terms of all the PHP. Like, super simple. So we've got a context variable, which this just pulls from the framework. You got a post variable. Then we're adding that to our context variable. And then we're adding a hero image. These methods are just on this object provided by the Timber framework. And then we have some templates, and then we render it. So to compare this to something else, let's look up 2016 theme. So if we download this, all the default WordPress themes are built on underscores, so this will give you kind of a decent idea. This is what one of those normally looks like. Let's find the front page for the index. Oh, well, hold on. That's not fair. So the front page PHP file calls this twig template. This template extends a base template, which has my header and footer in it. And then I've got some blocks that are like sections within this base template that I can insert content into. So this is the below header block, and this is the content block. But this entire home page, let me just go back. This entire home page, from top to bottom, in terms of like if I want to go change something, is only 70 lines, minus white space, as compared to like a default, like quote unquote normal WordPress theme. Well, they have a lot of abstractions in here too. But you got this header call, which is like a separate file, which is almost 100 lines in and of itself. Then you've got a footer call, which has another 60, 70 lines. And then the actual file has some of this. There's a lot of embedded PHP to look at with the loop. And then you have a template part as well, which if we do content single, there's another 50, 60 lines and a lot of PHP stuff. So to me, and then on top of that, you've got custom functions here. 2016 excerpt, which is going to call something in this functions file. I'm sure somewhere in here. Where is it? Template tags. Here we go. So there's just lots of extra stuff around, and it seems like overkill to me. Now I also work on a lot of client-facing stuff. So just like one company, upload a theme, and maybe work on like a little functionality plugin or something. So having this like code that's super extensible and like all these, checking for functions and blah blah blah. Like, it's a little overkill. Um, but I agree. The embedded PHP code is just hard to read and messy. They tried to fix that, I guess, with what is it? The ones where you can, just do, trying to shorten it a little bit. But no one does it because they just don't. I think it needs PHP 5.3, I think, and WordPress still officially kind of supports PHP 5.2. So you don't see it in core a lot, or you don't see it in mainstream plugins and themes. So in that case, yeah, I think the Twig stuff just looks a lot better. It's a lot easier to read. Anyway. So yeah, and then like my blog file, yeah, it's 25 lines, basically. Now I will say my base file, depending on the project, can get a little crazy. For example, this one, because I've got this online banking login thing up here, I can probably rip all of that out into a partial and then include it, which I'll probably do a little later once I wrap this up. And then the footer stuff, depending on how much like static content they have, sometimes this can get a little messy, but I can pull that out into a partial as well. But even still, 200 lines, in the vast majority of it, can be ripped out into a partial. But yeah, but then that's the entire header, the entire footer. Oh, where was I? Oh yeah, so I want to show a nice image here on this stories page, but I want to use I want to use a different image for this header up here. So I think we're gonna have to add a custom field to the posts to do that. Yeah. I'll call this archive image. Just add an image here. We'll set this to post. We'll also make it side. Isn't Phoenix a front end thing? I feel like I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago. They were talking about an Elixir Phoenix project. Set this one. This one. So it's like, you have to refresh my memory. Does like Phoenix work with Elixir really nicely? Because I feel like I see that combo a lot. Or is it just another kind of JavaScript flavor like TypeScript or CoffeeScript? So that should still work the same. Oh, we need to turn off the read more. Reference. Oops. Oh no, post preview. No? Maybe not. Maybe it is this one. No, this one. Oh wait, is that deprecated? Oh yeah, it was deprecated. Whoops. Preview. Um, hmm. I feel like length 50 dot. Oh, that's what it is. Read more. False. It's it uses the toString to generate it. Yeah, now I remember. So that should work. Yeah, like I don't know, like the front end back end thing is in some ways getting kind of ambiguous, especially if you want to work with JavaScript, because employers are thinking like, oh, they know JavaScript, so Node.js plus React or Angular or whatever else. So like they're almost like, let's just get front end people, and then they can learn uh, Node if they don't know it. I don't know. Right. Yeah, I think the JavaScript PHP thing is pretty interesting. Especially like Laravel and Vue is like a combo that people seem to really like. Um, in that same kind of vein, I feel like if you're a Rails developer, like knowing a JavaScript framework is like getting more and more common as well. Um, but so let's see if this worked. Yeah, there we go. That should be good enough. Or more than this single one. It needs to copy the page. Wait. Come on. Oh, there's no. Yeah. It might also be your location is why you can't find a lot of Node stuff. I know Node is super popular on West Coast, obviously, but I don't know what things are like outside of the United States. But at least in the U.S., uh, seems like Midwest stuff in the Midwest is like generally more not Node. uh, yeah, interesting. You're in New York and not seeing any though. I feel like there should be some in there, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. New York has a lot of content publishers there, so sometimes like some of the actual back end stuff can kind of lag behind, um, because they're on these old monolithic CMSs that have literally millions of articles in them, and they just update the front end every couple of years and kind of excuse me, kind of suffer through that back end experience a little bit. But there we go. Okay, well, that'll work. Okay, so let's see what else we got. So yeah, so I guess, we need to do pagination for this. Let's see, maybe like 4 or 5. Let's go add another one. Come on. Well, okay. I could have sworn I had a snippet for that. This is fine. Oh wait, which one is this? Shoot, archive. is my laptop screen? That'll work. Let's see. I need to go look the old project for this. Pagination stuff. Oh, can I do this? That might work better. So let's go change. Let's. I like MacBooks. I've been developing on a Mac uh, basically my entire career. Um, I had a MacBook Air in college. Um, that was plenty fine. I used an iMac for the first few years of my job, and then when I went fully remote, I switched to MacBook Pro, um, and yeah, I like it. I like the operating system the most. Like, I know there's a lot of like fanboy, like, oh, Apple's the best, and then like the other half of it is like, oh, Apple sucks. Like, build a PC for half the price, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think the software is really where Macs shine rather than the hardware. Because you're right, you can't get the same hardware for a lot cheaper on a Windows platform. But like, yeah, the software is just so much better, in my opinion. Um, the other thing is the trackpad. Um, I use a I use a standalone trackpad when I use an iMac as well, um, or if I have my laptop in like clamshell mode, I'll use a trackpad still as well. Apple trackpads are by far the best designed, best functioning. Like, an Apple trackpad works better. Like, it's hard to describe like how much better an Apple trackpad is compared to a Windows one. Um, it's there's not a comparison. uh, like, Windows trackpads just feel like crap, and Mac trackpads feel awesome to use all the time. They're super smooth. There's never any trouble scrolling or anything like that. Um, they're really accurate, so I love them. The new keyboards are interesting. I have a 2015 MacBook Pro, so it still has the old keyboard. If you're getting a new one, hopefully they get you the like actual 2018 MacBook Pros rather than the 2016, 2017 ones, because those were the ones with the crappy keyboards that seem to like break really easily. Um, that's supposedly been fixed in the 2018 ones, but I don't know. I don't have one, so. Or alternatively, just use your own keyboard plugged into the USB. Taslim, I got my first job by one is location. I was in an area that didn't really have a lot of tech to begin with. Um, so it was kind of just, reached out to the, you know, few companies, 3 or 4 companies in town that, did tech things and said, hey, I make websites. And they're like, hey, we build websites, you're hired. So I got super lucky with that. I knew WordPress, and I knew some WordPress at the time, and they were building websites on WordPress, so it was kind of a good fit. Worked out. Um, yeah, if I had to go find a job today, I don't know if I would do anything terribly different. I think at this point in my career, I've got enough skills and a backlog of sites I've worked on. I could probably go to just about any agency that does this type of work and show them what I've done and get a job. Um, so yeah, I don't know what I would do if I had to start over today. It's a tough thing. I definitely think going in person and making yourself known though, um, especially if you're in a big city. I think that's a key thing you have to do. You got to make yourself stick out somehow, and faces are a lot more memorable than email addresses. Okay, so where is this pagination thing, and why is it not showing up? Also, apparently, I can't work and talk at the same time. If pagination. Okay, so home. Pagination. um. Hmm. Seems like that should work. Oh, unless I spell it wrong. That'll do it. Pagination. Sure. That's probably okay. Realistically, if I don't know how many posts they're going to do a year. Based on their current website, probably not many. So if we get to more than 10 in the first year, maybe we can come back and look at that. But I don't think they will. Cool, so that's that. something we gotta do. So apparently, oh, did they already do this in that? Well, if they already did it. Hmm. Fees? All fees? All rates. That's what it is. Yeah, I think I want to add, or well, see it on this one. Basically, anytime they use the abbreviation APY, we also have to include annual percentage yield pretty nearby. So I think I'm going to add it to these data tables. It's just like some sort of footer that you can add. It's like there's this heading. So then I think there'll be like a extra notes line item that they can put something in here. Tasm, if you're interested in the WordPress stuff, actually the WordPress NYC group is pretty popular. Or the WordPress NYC meetup. Let's see. I'm assuming it's this one. Yeah, this is it. Kind of this subway looking logo. There's a lot of like WordPress influencers who are in the New York area. So I would hit that up if you're interested. They probably also will be able to, like, you might potentially be able to find like an internship opportunity there. I know the New York Times, their backend is, or a lot of their backend is built on WordPress. So they might need interns. It could be a good way to get your foot in the door. Okay. Yeah, so adding a little notes section down here. It's a 2-row text area with break tags. Add an email. Notes. That'll work. I'll make the intern go change all these tomorrow. I don't want to. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. Well, I think that's it. All I had left to do today was the contacts and the stories. Done. Let me go link that up before I push it. I guess we also need some. We need that different. Like, the page that needs a contact form. We don't have that in there yet. So. Okay, what do you say, guys? Keep going or call it here? I can think of one more thing to do. But, yeah, pretty close. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. here. And I do have work in the morning. So, okay, well, we'll call it here then. I use a 2015 MacBook Pro, 15-inch. I like it a lot. I got it used on Craigslist or eBay. I don't remember. My boss bought it. I think it was like $1,300 maybe. It's maxed out. Works great. If you don't want to deal with the USB-C shenanigans on the new MacBook Pros, it's a good option. So cool. Oh, okay. I'm gonna call it there. I gotta push this so the intern can mess with some content tomorrow. Yeah, thanks, Fart. If you guys give me a follow, that'd be super useful. If I do stream tomorrow, it'll probably be kind of the after 9 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. I don't know how much I have left to do here on this site, but I can probably find something to do. Maybe I'll start a new theme from scratch, and then it'll be an archive video that people can watch, or I don't know. So, because this one is pretty close to being done. So, I don't know. Cool. Well, I'm gonna call it there. See you guys tomorrow, maybe. There's a WordPress meetup in my area tomorrow that I might go to. So if I do, I probably won't stream. But anyway, cool. Hope you guys have a good night. Peace.